So my little 22-year-old daughter asked me to convert her Vans high tops into a pair of roller skates. But I decided those boots were a little bit old and smelly, so I told her to buy some new ones. This is what we made. Hi, I'm Sean. Welcome to the shed. Follow me down the drive. First things first, making sure I've got everything in order to begin the project. I've just opened my fiberglass repair kit, which is the first time I've ever used fiberglass, so I ordered a pack offline. Unfortunately, the pack that I've opened turns out to be clear resin and hardener, and not fiberglass repair kit. So I'm going to have to nip to my local shops and pick up a small fiberglass repair kit instead. But I'm going to get hold of the company I bought this from. I'm going to keep hold of this, I think, because I think we've got some projects coming up in the near future where we could probably use a little bit of resin. And I'm back. Just need to sort the rest of the equipment out, and I'll show you what we're going to be working with today.
So the first thing I had to do was to strip down the trucks of her old roller derby skates, because we're going to keep the trucks and mount these to Vans skate shoes. Even though I said I wasn't going to use the old shoes, I decided to use the old insoles as forms to mould the fiberglass plates round, which we're going to be processing. The first thing I did was to cover each of the insoles with cling film to protect them and allow the fiberglass to peel off. You can buy plates online to perform this conversion. They're usually made out of aluminium or steel, and they add a little bit of weight and very rigidness to the skates. I'd previously watched a video online a while back where someone used glass fibre instead, which made the insole, instead of being a rigid plate, it was a rigid plate which was actually moulded to the insole itself. So it was more of a shoe than actual just a lump of material inside the skate. The fiberglass kit came with 2 pieces of matting. I only used one for the project, so I cut this into 6 pieces, giving each insole 3 layers of fiberglass. As with all resin processes, it's time to don the lovely rubber gloves. So first of all, you're going to measure out your fiberglass resin. You'll add a specific amount of hardener and stir it in until you can see all the hardener is all mixed in. With this resin kit, I only had a 5-minute working time, so it was time to start coating the insoles with a liberal amount of resin. Once these were coated, I was able to just lay the first piece of matting down on top of it. It's basically doing big boys paper mache really. So once the first piece was down, you then coat the top of it again with the resin itself. This starts to work its way through to meet the resin on the other side. Starts the chemical process of bonding the matting and the resin together. I repeated this on the second insole. I let the matting cure for about 30 to 40 minutes. It only says 20 on the box, but once it had cured, I then came back and drew around each of the insoles to confirm the actual shape. I forgot I'd left some resin in the tub, but luckily it just came out, so I was able to reutilise the tub again. As I covered everything in cling film initially, it just peeled off. This is where I found my first problem, is that my scissors just weren't strong enough to cut through the just initial 2 layers of resin. So off to the bandsaw, and this was quite nice and easy just to follow the line of the insole round. After completing the initial cut, I added another 2 layers of resin to each insole. I marked the 4 points of contact for the skate plates to connect to the sole of the trains. I drilled through the holes with 4mm drill bit to allow the M4 bolts to come through from the inside of the sole. At this point the resin inserts are in the shoes, and I'm just trying to mark them more than actually drill through them, but the first shoe went straight through, so I took it a little bit easier on the remaining parts and just marked the inside. Once I'd confirmed the holes were there, I countersunk each of the top pieces of the insole just to allow the screws to fit snug. To ensure these insoles are bulletproof, I decided to reinforce the screw fittings with some gaffer tape. Don't ask me why, just did. So I did an initial assembly of the skates with the long M4 bolts. These are going to get put down shortly, but I just wanted to make sure the plates fit correctly and everything seemed to be fine. Using my rotary tool, I took off the ends of each of the bolts to cut them down to size. Time for final assembly, so plates on. Nylon nuts on instead of the original simple nuts that came with the M4 bolts, and then starting to fit the actual chuck assemblies and wheels. It's nearly finished, it's time for a dance surely.
So that's how I made these Vans high tops into a pair of quad roller skates. Fairly simple, and it was a new experience playing with fiberglass. I'll say this, when it gets on your skin, it really does irritate, even if it's the slightest little bit. Well, I've got some more projects coming up. Feel free to stick around and watch them. If you'd like to, and stay around and watch what I get up to, there's a subscribe button in the top corner. I'm done for the weekend, so I'm going to go and have some cuddles with Jethro the dog. Catch me on other social media, Shaun the Shed, everywhere you go. See you next time.